Welcome to Roofing Road Trips, the podcast that takes you on a thrilling journey across the world of roofing. From fascinating interviews with roofing experts to on-the-road adventures, we'll uncover the stories, innovations, and challenges that shape the rooftops over our heads. So fasten your seatbelts and join us as we embark on this exciting roofing road trip.
Hello and welcome to another Roofing Road Trips from Roofers Coffee Shop. My name is Heidi Ellsworth, and this is a very special Roofing Road Trips because we are live at the IIBEC show for 2025 in Orlando, Florida. And we are sitting on the coffee shop's soundstage sponsored by IB Roof Systems. It's been a great show, and we now have the best. We have Jason Stanley, CEO of IB Roof Systems, here with us to talk about the show, about PVC, about consultants. I'm so excited for this.
This has been an amazing event so far, and we're delighted to be here. Happy to be a sponsor for the Roofers Coffee Shop. You guys do so many amazing things to bring great content to our industry. Thank you for being here, and thank you for this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sponsoring the soundstage. I have to tell you, we've been busy, Jason. It's been non-stop interviews, such great information. But I think what you and I are really going to get into, it's really going to be the cream of the crop. I'm pretty excited about that. But let's start out with introductions. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us about IB Roof Systems and kind of just about you.
Well, IB Roof Systems is a second-generation family-owned business. We run 46 years, and I was one of those guys that said we would never sell, that we were going to transition this to the third generation. Yeah. And I tell you, sometimes things come along that just seem a little too good to be true.
Yeah.
It was actually just last year at the International Roofing Expo that I was introduced to Kingspan, and they have such an amazing company.
Yeah.
And it's really been a wonderful, wonderful partnership. I still only sold only half my shares, so I still own shares in the company. I'm still fully vested. And what Kingspan does in these businesses is they retain all the leadership. There's no rolling in or folding in. It's that they want to buy good companies and then give them CapEx dollars to really grow and mature in the industry. And we've seen that. We've attracted some top tier talent we would have never been able to do if it wasn't for our relationship with Kingspan. And then having this vertical coming into insulation has just been an absolute game changer for us. And it's been a fascinating show, and it's been a great 6 months since that acquisition.
I tell you what, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, what a great, and such a great partnership and opportunity for you and your family. But let's talk just a little bit too. Obviously Kingspan looked around and they saw IB Roof Systems and how amazing it is. Talk to everybody a little bit about your products, why you're different, and how you are really different out there in the industry.
Well, so we really align with Kingspan and some of the products they're doing, right? They're huge into data centers, cold storage, semiconductor facilities, battery plants, and those people want PVC. Those are really critical buildings. They're all buy and hold, and they want a PVC roof.
Yeah.
So when Kingspan went around looking for a company that aligned with what they were trying to do in the market or support what they're doing in the interior or in the wall panel side, how can we connect that to the roof? Having a branded company like IB, where we have clear performance, high quality products, I think it was a natural fit.
I think it was brilliant, personally. I'm like, and it makes so much sense because PVC really is what the industry is looking at. It is the next step. In fact, you know what? I'm going to jump to that question because I really want to kind of continue down that road. But we are seeing huge growth in PVC. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about why that substantial growth, where it's coming from.
Well, I think there's several motivating factors. One is, TPO came in the marketplace with such a presence and basically leapfrogged off all the things that PVC had done. It was reflective, weldable. But I kind of think we're seeing the turn of PVC and or TPO and kind of how long that roof lasts.
Yeah.
And then what can be done downstream with that particular roof, and kind of repairability, weldability, and while it is maybe one of the lowest cost systems in the marketplace today, I think people are returning back to a bit of resilience.
Yes.
Trent Contney had a wonderful quote that I used in a presentation just recently that talked about, we sell disposable roofs today.
Yeah.
While many have 30-year warranties, many of them are being replaced in less than 15 years.
Right.
And we're filling our landfills with these roofs.
Yeah.
And while that may perceive to be good for the roofing contractors or manufacturers in the short term, it's not good for any of us long term.
No. No.
So as we move to an attitude as a country or culture of more of resilience, building longer term, more durable roofs is really coming in vogue, and that's great. It's what we should be doing.
Well, and I think the extreme weather is also pushing that. You know, the durability of environmental sustainability, keeping those roofs, but then also what's happening out there with these storms, these mega storms, and you need to have a system. You don't want to be replacing your roof every storm.
Yeah. I'll give a quick shout out to Georgia Pacific and what they've done most recently with their white papers.
Yeah.
They have done a tremendous job in thought leadership talking about creating more resilient roofs. A cover board makes my roof better. A cover board makes everybody's roof better.
Wow.
A cover board, right, protects the building itself. And so I applaud them for their efforts in talking about durability, resilience, and how we can make roofs last longer.
Right.
The inclusion of a cover board is a major ticket. I think it's still today probably one of the most value engineered products. It's remarkable.
It is. We were just having that conversation.
There was a project, the Ronald McDonald House, the largest in the world there in Columbus, Ohio. USG actually agreed to donate the board on that, and it was going to be for free, and it was still value engineered.
Serious?
It just becomes this thought that, it's extra work, it's extra effort, without truly understanding the real consequences of not including cover board, either from a fire performance standpoint or just a sheer durability standpoint. So as I've gotten older and gone back and seen roofs that are 10 years old or 20 years old or 25 years old, the ones with a cover board perform so much better and provide that extra durability and that fire resistance for the building. Yeah,
and it's interesting when you put PVC and cover boards together. Now you're really talking about some serious fire resistance, severe hail. I mean, it just amplifies it.
You're absolutely correct. The reason why I'm giving them some love, there is a little bit of selfishness in this, because if all the things that are happening that GP says are happening with solar rooftop fires and these storms and other damage that happens on these buildings, then PVC, right, is the capstone to the most resilient, long-lasting, reflective, recyclable product at end of life. So we pair really, really well with Georgia Pacific's products and the inclusion of a cover board. Yeah, that is so cool. So, okay, we're here at the IIBEC show, and I want to stay on a little bit of the same path that we are with PVC, but I'd love to hear, you've been talking to everyone. I know you had beautiful hospitality last night. Thank you. It was awesome. What are you seeing with PVC being specified by consultants? Growth? Where are we at? Yeah, so let me just start with talking about the differences between this show and IRE, right? Yes. So while it's about, 1/10 the attendance, right? You get 16,000 there and 1,600 here. Yeah. But the mood is so much different. What I love about roof consultants is they love facts, data, and they love to read. Yeah. Right? They want to know what's tried and true. Right. Contractors at the IRE want to see kind of what's new and shiny. Yeah. Really seems to be such a difference in what they value and what they seek out, and so we love this crowd, right? We've been making the same products for 46 years in the same way. And I was having a conversation with Ron Harriman, and I was feeling as if we hadn't caught up. Love Ron. And, yeah, he's so great. And I felt like we weren't keeping pace, that we hadn't innovated enough. Yeah. And Ron said, and I still have the sticky note on the side of my desk, he said, don't confuse manufacturing efficiencies with innovation. And I was like, can you say that again? He said, don't confuse manufacturing efficiencies with innovation. He said, most of the products we have today aren't better. They've just found cheaper and faster ways to make them. And so every show we go to, it's always talking about what's cheaper and faster,
right.
Rarely are we having conversations about what's better.
Yeah.
And that's why I go back to this
true.
GP product, right? When you include Georgia Pacific Stensdeck underneath an IB PVC roof, right? It becomes a better, more resilient roof.
System.
And we should be looking at those things, looking at how can we use insulation in different ways, how can we include cover bores, is it fully adhered, mechanically attached, fleece back? But this group here at this show, right, they want to talk about resilience. They want to talk about durability.
Yes.
And that's what we love, and that's where we thrive.
Yeah, that's what I find. I mean, I love the consultants. I love how much they're into the continuing education, but that they really are looking at products that are going to last for their building owners. And not that contractors don't have the building owners in mind first, but the roofing consultants really do. They are like, and so we had some great conversations yesterday with Brian Polish and some other folks about that importance of that triangle of the contractor, the building owner, and the consultant all working together.
It's the biggest challenge in our industry today, right? I think there's three things, right, you have to have, right? Quality products, and then proper design.
Yeah.
But then you have to have a quality installation. If any one of those three items on a three-legged stool, so to speak, fail,
right,
it all falls over, right? You have to have the quality products, then you have to lean on good design. But if we don't work with the contractors, the manufacturer and the consultant working with the contractor actually to complete that design with quality products, it's all for naught.
Right. I agree. And that's really what we're hearing. And we're also hearing, you know what, Jason, it was awesome. We had Lauren Morley over here, and I don't know if you know Lauren, she's with R3NG out of...
Yes, she's one of our contractors. They install our stuff.
Out of Colorado. And she is now the new president of the Denver IIBEC chapter.
How great is that?
That is pretty cool. That, to me, really shows that contractors are seeing the value of working with consultants and really making that a core business.
Yeah, there was a time when I was, I would say, young and dumb, where, you know, a consultant gets involved in a job and you kind of cringe and, oh my goodness, it's going to raise the cost, the details are going to be more difficult. But wow, what a change I've had in my lifetime as I've grown up and we've embraced IIBEC as an association. Most of the people that are on the board today are dear friends of mine, have become good friends of mine, and I really have a great respect for the work they do and their involvement in these jobs. Contractors typically see a job when it's new, when they're working on it. They rarely see it when it's failing 15 and 20 years later.
Yeah.
Consultants, that's all they see. They see every bad roof. They don't get called out to the good ones. It's like an attorney, right? You know, sometimes I get a little cynical with attorneys. It's like, how can you live, right? Every day you just think about every terrible thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's the world they live in, right? They only get called when things go wrong.
Right.
Well, roof consultants are much the same.
Yeah.
They get called out and they see all the bad ways to do it.
Yes.
But they also see the right ways to do it as well. So.
And they see a lot. They see a lot that's out there, so they know what's working and what's not working.
Yeah, they may be on 3 or 4 different roofs in a day.
Yeah.
Right? And different products, different assemblies. And so I've grown to respect their role in this industry, and we're proud to partner with them and support them. We're a platinum sponsor to IIBEC in this event. We sponsor the board as well, so we get this beautiful opportunity. It's been now about 6 years where we get to present directly to the board something in thought leadership.
Oh my gosh, how awesome.
It is so powerful to sit in front of these guys and share something of interest, of wisdom, and bring some little nuggets to them.
Yes.
But to hear them come back and engage in it and ask questions about it, and then I'm learning and growing as well as we debate these topics. It's fascinating.
Yeah, that is. So, okay, continue down that path just a little bit about your history with yourself and IB Roof Systems with IIBEC. How long have you been involved in kind of that? Obviously now you're a platinum sponsor, so you saw the value.
So I tell a lot of my sales reps, they're like, hey, can we belong to this association? And my response is always the same. You can join, but only if you get involved.
Yes, right.
Signing up and being a member really doesn't do anything, right? It's checking the box. You got to go, and you get out of it what you put into it.
Right.
So I think we've been members of IIBEC for well over a decade.
Wow, that's
but
great.
We've been engaged, like heavily engaged, about the last 6 years. And it's been one of those things where the more you put into it, the more you get out of it.
Yeah.
And these people have become, again, dear friends of mine.
Yes.
We've put together these advisory councils.
Oh yeah.
Which, you know, I owe it to Sid Tichy to kind of shepherd me and, hey, Jason, this is how you can really bring about thought leadership, and this is how you can bring people in. And what a remarkable thing that has been. I now have a core group of people that when we have an issue or a problem or a concern, that I can reach out to as a collective group and tap into this mind trust that is some of the best, greatest leaders at IIBEC, some of the best and greatest consultants.
And they love it. They love to be involved and to be helping each other. I find that. We just saw Ray Weatherholt here. Both you and I were a little stargazed. It was like, Ray, because we've both known him since we first started in the industry.
I think I saw Ray the first time when I was probably 22 years old on a roof in Seattle, Washington. And what a great legend he is in this industry. So yeah, and they're walking all around the show, right?
Exactly.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. Great. It's great. I have to tell you, and I kind of mentioned over there, but this is how consultants are. Ray, as I was a 26-year-old coming into roofing, he actually would spend time with me on the phone, just going over projects, explaining to me how things worked, what was going on. And so, you know, there's not a lot of people out there who would take that time and really help to educate that next generation.
Yeah, consultants have a lot to give, and in many times, right, have an extremely big heart.
Yes.
As long as you're willing to listen.
Yeah, you have to listen.
If you go, I'll share a short story from Darby last night, which was amazing. Darby came over, who was also in Seattle, Washington.
Right.
And she shared a story with one of our young sales reps, Gage, in the Seattle area. And she met with Gage and gave him a task to go and look up all the ASTM criteria for all his products and all his competitors' products. Gage, thinking he was doing something for her as a work project, studied and wrote it all down and brought it back to her, and he was ready to present it to her. And as he turns around the paper, she goes, "I know all this." It's like, well, then why am I doing this? It's for you.
So you know it.
Yeah. So it's, and you get people like Darby that are willing to engage with some of these younger sales reps, and those were some life-changing moments for him.
Yeah.
And we taught him as much as we could inside, and then you kind of go drop him in the deep end of the pool.
You do.
And sink or swim.
I know. We kind of do that.
And he's swimming. He is doing a remarkable job. We're so proud of Gage and everything he's doing in Seattle.
You have some amazing sales reps across the country.
But I think it speaks to the generosity of this industry, both contractors and consultants.
Yes.
Their ability or their willingness to take people under their wing.
Yeah, it's so true.
Comes in large part because we all learned from somebody else.
Yeah, we did.
Right?
And we want to give back.
You know, nobody went to school for this 10 years ago. We got to stop saying that now because people are going to school for this now.
They are.
But I think us previous to us now, right? We all learned from somebody, so I think there's this kind of feeling of passing it on.
Yeah,
that we're required to share, and there's so much knowledge in this room. So advice to anybody would get close to these people, be humble, be coachable, ask questions, and they will pour into you.
That is great advice, because I think so that's what that was one of my next questions that I wanted to ask you, was talk about just how important IIBEC is to the industry. I mean, when we think about that, what an impact they have.
Heidi, there has never been a greater time in our industry for roof consultants.
Yeah.
Complexity of codes, complexity of structures, liability. Wow.
Yeah.
If you're doing any project of any size, even not size, just of any complexity, involving a roof consultant in that project will make it better.
It will.
Their understanding of drainage and wind uplift and condensation, far surpasses that of most manufacturers. I think in this industry, manufacturers, want to get involved, they want to support, but we really should be leaning on these trusted consultants to come in and be the boots on the ground, to be the design professionals, and put them in the proper place to actually make our jobs better, make our roofs perform longer.
Yeah. Well, as IIBEC took on the building envelope, it used to be RCI, Roof Consultants Institute, now it's IIBEC, with that building envelope, it makes even more sense. Because remember, I know you remember, but that was always the discussion all the time, that roof-to-wall transition.
Yeah.
Who owns it? How's it going? Well, now they own it.
Yeah.
And they are specifying it. They understand it. I think that to me is also one of the really big changes.
Yes. There is much we can do to learn from these guys. If you go around, you'll see where there's educational conferences at IRE.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're as deep and meaningful. If you look at the ones that are listed on the schedule here, these are intense, oftentimes peer-reviewed white papers that these guys are speaking on at a really deep level, and it's in every classroom.
It is.
It's remarkable. So one thing I love about these people, right, is and I say these people, I mean roof consultants in general, is they seem to never stop learning.
No, they don't. Or getting credentialed.
I don't know how many times I've run into a roofing contractor and they're not willing to learn anything new. They think they've arrived and they know enough.
Yeah.
And here it seems like guys are 60 years old that have been doing this for 40 years are still learning.
Still going to
classes. Yeah.
I know. It is absolutely amazing, and I really do. I love this show. I just even talking to you, I'm kind of like, oh, this show. Just the people who are here are so good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about one of the areas that I think manufacturers hold so much opportunity is the ability to bring contractors and consultants together. You know both, right? You have your contractors, you have your consultants. What's some of your advice, and how can contractors work with you as a manufacturer to start meeting consultants, to start getting more involved, to bring that into their business?
So when we started these advisory councils, we held them intentionally separate. You had consultants and you had contractors. And it's interesting because they don't look at things the same way. They look at it from a different lens. Yeah. And so I was talking with Brian Whalen, and I said, I think I want to hold our next advisory council, and I want to have consultants and contractors together. Yeah. He's like, don't do it. Don't do it. They look at things entirely different. So we did it.
You did it. I was going to say, please do it.
We did, and it was remarkable, right? You're forcing this engagement and forcing this perception that these people look at things differently.
Yeah.
And until we start looking at things under the same lens, right, which is the lens of how do we build a more durable, more sustainable roof for the benefit of the building owner. Yeah. So I think in large part it was some of the people we brought in, right? Mm-hmm. We brought in people that were willing to do that, willing to embrace that. So it worked well in that context, but it turned out to be this awesome kind of networking event. Yeah. Where we were getting both sides of the table.
I think that's brilliant.
And having some spirited debate on roll size or thickness or attachment methods. That was, I think, just as good for the contractors to hear the consultant's perspective. It was great for the consultants to actually maybe listen and understand why contractors are rebuffing these things or why they have challenges with them.
They don't want them breaking the spec, right?
No.
And so to have that kind of conversation together is brilliant and really what needs to continue to happen.
Yeah. So we'll continue to push the envelope at IIB and sometimes challenge the industry and bring people together, but it really, if people have the right spirit of coming there and learning and growing, I think it has to do with alignment, right? If we're finding people that are aligned with us, right? We make the highest quality PVC in the marketplace. We have reasons for why we make the sheet we do. Yeah. It's not often understood to the industry why we make a traditional width roll, why we do even thickness top and bottom, why we do calendaring. But they're important to the guys that install the product. Yeah. They're important to the building owners that own that roof for the next 20, 25, or 30 years. Yeah. So what I really love about consultants is they seem to appreciate some of the details that not everybody else looks at. Maybe they're looking at a square foot price or a wide width roll, but understanding how it's attached and how it will be installed and how it's going to perform and be serviced over its life, that's where they care.
Yeah, and what I love too about what you're saying is the contractor and the consultant may care about different things, but when they come together with what those things they care about, it's really going to make an incredible installation.
It requires conversation and intent to understand what are we trying to accomplish here as a common goal.
Yeah.
Rather than kind of fighting against each other or pushing against each other. And I think we're seeing that more today. And I'm proud that IB is leading some of those discussions and forcing some of those discussions to make sure we can build better roofs for our building owners.
I love it. I love it. Okay, real quick, we couldn't be here at the IIBEC show, and last week or 2 weeks ago we were at IRE without anything new you want to talk about from IB? Wow. Anything out there that you want to bring up that you've been talking about in the booth?
So we have expanded our sales team, which has been fabulous. Yes. I spoke about a little bit earlier. It's amazing who you can attract when you're acquired by Kingspan or partnered with Kingspan. It has been tremendous.
Yes.
A lot of industry legends now are looking at us as a place where they can come and thrive and be successful. But one of the most impactful things that I've read recently and that I've talked about a lot is going back to Georgia Pacific, and this white paper they rolled out just before the IRE is on rooftop solar fires.
Yes.
If you Google it on your phone, rooftop solar fire, you'll see hundreds of examples.
Right.
Well, there's actually thousands of them happening.
That's scary.
And they're not really talked about as much as they should be. So there's a white paper published November 2024 that was paraded around at the IRE show that talks about how fire performs differently in solar fires. So not only is the rate of fires on a rooftop crazy more probable, right? These panels get bent or twisted and they create hot spots and then they can combust, or the wires become disconnected and then they spark or arc.
Oh my gosh.
Or wires that bounce against a solar panel eventually fray and then they spark or arc and they create these fires. I want to make sure I get the data right. I believe it's 27 solar fires per megawatt is what they've concluded in their white paper.
Wow.
And then they do this extrapolation that if we arrive globally at the amount of solar integration that we would like to see in this country or around the world, we'd have 900,000 solar fires a year.
Holy cow.
And not only solar fires, but the way the fire behaves. So when you have a panel that's trapped, that's keeping the fire down, rather than fire going up and the heat going up, it's now hitting the panel and the heat goes down. I don't know the exact number, but it's some sort of like 3x, right? Instead of having this heat going up, now the heat is pushing down. So now you have a more intense fire. Well, now the panels are all holding the fire in, so the fire spreads faster. So it's hotter and faster. And when the fire department shows up to put their hose on the fire, it doesn't hit the fire.
Because it's underneath the panels.
It's hitting the panels.
Yeah.
So the fires are more intense, they spread more rapidly, and then it's a real challenge to get them put out because you can't get the water directly on the fire. These are things that I never even really thought of until I read this article. So if you're considering solar, right, the inclusion of a cover board, right, is a must, right? And
there's so many reasons.
Yes, and then it comes back to PVC and it's fire resistance, right?
Right.
If I had a sample here today, you could light on fire to immediately extinguish, right?
Yeah.
And so PVC, right, is probably the most fire resistant product. So if what they say is true in their articles, right? PVC is the capstone to any solar-ready roof.
Right, and solar-ready is the key. Really, and this is being talked about a lot with specifications, but owners may not know they're going to have solar right away, but they need a roof that can take solar when they want it to.
That's absolutely correct. It may not be solar today, it may not be thought of today, but there's new code coming in about having solar. There's a potential for we need some backups power supply, so we're going to put solar. Or maybe it's an environmental position of the company that, hey, we're going to include some sort of solar on a roof. Or maybe it's a tax credit. But however it's coming, right, there is a time when people are saying, hey, solar would be a good idea on this roof. And is your roof going to be solar ready?
Yeah. Wow. I love our conversations. That is so good. Okay, where can that GP paper, you should be able to find it on the GP directory on Roofer's Coffee Shop. You can go to GP, you can go to IB.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we'll also have it on the IB directory.
Good.
IB Roof Systems directory on Roofer's Coffee Shop. So you can see that paper. I think that's something everybody needs to look at.
Absolutely.
That's great. Last question. How can contractors get more involved with IB Roof Systems?
You know, go to our website, find your local sales rep, or reach out to your sales rep in your marketplace. I'm proud of not only Gage, but all the sales reps we have around the country. We have been so blessed to have some really tremendous guys. So reach out. Go on our website, call the phone number on there. We'll connect you instantly with a sales rep, and he can tell you what consultancy is working within that marketplace.
Yep. We
can provide training. And not only our sales reps, I think a little better than average, we have some remarkable technical people. Not only inside, but in the field.
Yeah.
These guys do your RRO certification, not RROs, your Pro Cert certifications on a job site or in your own shop or at our facility. They're all getting their RROs if they don't have them already.
Wow.
They're just smart, talented, hard-working people.
And they love it.
Yeah, all of our guys drive around in these IB Roof Systems truck with a logo on top that says IB, so when people drive up and you look over the edge, right, you know the IB guys here? Yeah. And every one of them has tools in their truck. They have a Leister robotic welder, they got a hand welder, and they got a tool kit. And if rain's coming, right? Yeah. Our guys better be the first one on the roof, helping them tie it in, dry it in, finish their roof up. Yeah. If they're going to ask a guy to do a detail in a certain way, they better be willing to show them and teach them how to do the weld. Not just carry a, notepad around and mark up the job and say, no, not like this. Let me show me, teach me.
That's true partnership. Yeah. That's really true partnership. You can find all of this on Roofer's Coffee Shop in the IB Roof Systems directory. You can find the map, you can contact information, get to the website, articles, podcasts, all the great stuff that we've done together. Jason, thank you for your time today. I know we're taking you away from your booth, but we so appreciate this, and thank you for being our sponsor.
We're happy to be here. We love you guys. You guys do such great things, so thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to do this again.
Okay.
We'll keep it up.
All right.
Thank you all for watching and listening to this Roofing Road Trips special from IIBEC Live. Like I said, you can find all the information about IB Roof Systems on the directory on Roofer's Coffee Shop. Be sure to check out all of our podcasts under the RLW navigation or on your favorite podcast channel. Be sure to subscribe and set your notifications so you don't miss a single episode. We'll be seeing you next time on Roofing Road Trips.
If you've enjoyed the ride, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us on every roofing adventure. Make sure to visit rooferscoffeeshop.com to learn more. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next Roofing Road Trip.